Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good with everyone. Um, I want to break this video down into two. Before I start, I'm going to talk about two different things in this video. Before I start, smash the like button, guys, for this video. Let's get this video to over 100 likes. Let's push it a little bit further. It's probably not going to get to it, but let's get it to 150 likes. You know, I like to push the boundaries. Let's get this video to 150 likes. Let's see. I don't think we're going to get there, but I think we may get close. Let's see. But yeah, I want to first talk about what Mike Tyson had to say about the Plant Canelo fight. And then I'm going to talk about Claressa Shields. Mike Tyson basically said Canelo will destroy Caleb Plant. And he said that it's not going to be a fight. You know, he said Canelo's going to slaughter him. And he said all these things. And Mike Tyson basically doesn't think it's going to be a fight. Mike Tyson thinks it's going to be a walkover. He thinks that Canelo will destroy him. A lot of people seem to think that. I don't know. It could be. Steven made a good point yesterday in the live. It could be. It could be. It could well be. You know, because Canelo is so good and we just don't know how good Caleb Plant is. So I think all of you, I know most of you are saying Canelo's going to do this, Canelo's going to do that. But really deep down, not many of you know how good Caleb Plant is. You're going off some of his fights. But I don't like to do that. You know why? Because sometimes he's won all his fights, irrespective of how he looked. We don't know if he can raise his game when he knows he's up against a great fighter. And that's why with an undefeated fighter, I always like to give him the opportunity. Like Callum Smith, could he raise his game against Canelo? He couldn't. Billy Joe, could he raise his game? He couldn't. You know, can Caleb Plant raise his game against Canelo Alvarez? Probably not. I think Canelo will stop him. But could Caleb give Canelo problems? Could Caleb win a couple of rounds against Canelo? Could he win 5-6? Could be ahead by the time of the stoppage. Could he go the distance and win a distance? Like, you know, the reason why we're going to watch it, because we're intrigued. Canelo himself has acknowledged Caleb's got good skills. He's got a good jab and he's got good movement. So Canelo himself knows what he's going up against. And that's what makes Canelo great, because he knows deep down that Caleb Plant's a good fighter. He believes he's going to stop him and knock him out, but he thinks Caleb Plant's a good fighter. He rates Caleb Plant's skills. You know, Canelo, he does rate it. But like he said, it's not something that he hasn't seen before. Canelo's obviously seen everything. There's nothing that Canelo hasn't seen. There's nothing that Canelo Alvarez is new to Canelo Alvarez. He's seen it all. He's been in there with really great fighters. He's been in there with let's be honest, he's been in there with much more accomplished fighters than Caleb Plant. And, you know, he's beaten them. You know, he's been in there with Golovkin, and some people say the fights were close. But when you're fighting a great fighter like Golovkin, the fights are going to be close. The fights are going to be tough. The fights aren't going to be easy. When you're fighting Golovkin, you think the fights are going to be easy. You think you're going to have an easy ride against Gennady Golovkin. You must be mad if you think you're going to have an easy ride against Golovkin, because you're not going to have an easy ride against Golovkin. Golovkin's a monster. So you're definitely not going to have an easy ride with Gennady Golovkin. If that's what you're looking for, you're definitely not going to have that. Because he's a great fighter. So Canelo's experienced it all. He's got it all. And he may destroy Plant. We just don't know. But Caleb Plant may rise to the occasion and may give Canelo Alvarez a lot of issues. Who knows? At the minute, I'm kind of leaning towards like a Billy Joe performance where he wins a couple of rounds and then, you know, Canelo. That's what I think is going to happen, and then Canelo takes over and knocks him out. He may give Canelo a bit more problems than Billy Joe. I definitely expect him to put up a better fight than Callum Smith. Yeah, so I kind of see it that he may put in a much better performance than Callum or Billy. Let's see. Some of you don't think so. Some of you think so. Some of you think he's gonna win. But yeah, I can't see it. I can't see it. I think Canelo Alvarez is gonna win this fight, and I think Canelo Alvarez, he's the best fighter in the world right now. I think his confidence is on another level. So yeah, I can't really see anything past a Canelo stoppage in this fight. But then again, Caleb may rise to the occasion and cause an upset. Who knows? But yeah, that's what Mike Tyson believes that Canelo Alvarez will destroy Caleb Plant. Do you guys agree with Mike Tyson, or do you think it's going to be a lot more competitive than what Mike Tyson thinks? Do you think Caleb's going to give Canelo issues, or do you think it's just going to be one-way traffic? Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Coming on to the second part of the video, Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields lost her second MMA fight. Guys, as you guys know, I don't have a lot of interest in MMA. I'm not a big MMA fan. I'm not somebody that watches a lot of MMA at all. Maybe some of the big fights, you have a little bit of interest, but that's like any big sport, even, like the Ryder Cup, you might not watch golf, but everyone watches, like, for me, it's like tennis, like Wimbledon, you'll watch the final because it's massive, it's big. Even though I'm not a big tennis fan, the big events, you watch them. I didn't watch Claressa Shields. I watched a few highlights. And she obviously lost the fight. She didn't get the decision. But I don't know why Claressa Shields, being as good as she is, I don't know why you would go into another sport. Obviously, there's, people say that women boxing isn't as lucrative. There isn't that many challenges for her. She's cleaned up everything. But there is a super fight out there for her. And that's Savannah Marshall now. So I don't understand why she's competing in MMA. I don't really get it why she's competing in MMA when she's got a huge super fight out there for her that will probably make her a lot of money. So I don't understand. Because I think someone like that, who's a great fighter, I don't think should be going into another sport and taking a loss in another sport. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't get it. I think she's too great a fighter to put, like, what do you expect her to win in MMA? Like, MMA, you lose fights, and she's getting a lot of stick, but she never lost in boxing. She lost in another sport. MMA is not boxing. She hasn't lost in boxing, and I see people giving her a lot of grief. I was like, mate, she just lost in another sport. She lost in MMA. She didn't lose in boxing. Like, fair enough, if she lost in boxing and then you want to, fair enough, because that's her sport and that's what she calls. When she calls herself the GWOAT, she's calling herself the GWOAT in boxing, not MMA. Because she's definitely not the GWOAT in MMA. She's calling herself the GWOAT in boxing. And she hasn't lost in boxing. She's won 2 Olympic gold medals in boxing. She's an former undisputed champion in boxing. And now she's looking to fight Savannah Marshall. And if she beats Savannah Marshall, that take her legacy to another level. So, to be honest with you, I don't know why, I think Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall need to fight. I think that's a great fight. I think that's the biggest fight in women's boxing. I do. I think that's the biggest fight in women's boxing right now. I think that would generate a lot of interest, and that would be a main event. That'd be a main event fight. People would be interested in that fight. People would be really intrigued to see that fight. So I think we need to see that fight. So it's I don't understand, because I know that they're going to fight. So this is why I don't understand, because they both came on Sky and they both said that they were going to fight. They were going to fight in December. And then they were going to fight next year sometime. So I didn't quite understand why. Because, when Claressa Shields is a star now, right? So when you lose a fight, right, you're going to, there's a lot of things that you go through. And also it knocks your confidence. Even though that it's not in your field, really. but it knocks your confidence. So I just don't understand why she needs to do that. She's a big star. Yeah, I don't know the situation financially in women's boxing, but there's a massive fight out there that's going to pay a lot of money financially. So that's what I just don't understand. Like, fair enough if there was no challenges whatsoever, but she's got a challenge there in Savannah Marshall. So I didn't even know she was fighting, by the way. I didn't even know Claressa Shields was fighting in a second fight yesterday. I didn't even know she was fighting, to be honest. I just want to see Claressa Shields back in boxing and I want to see her fight Savannah Marshall. A lot of people seem to think that Savannah Marshall knocks out Claressa Shields. I'm going to be backing Claressa Shields in that fight. I think she's more skilled. I think Savannah Marshall's a big puncher. So if she gets caught, I think Savannah Marshall could take her out. But Savannah Marshall in her last fight very impressed me. Impressed me a lot, to be honest. So I do think the fight's a lot closer than what I initially thought. Because Savannah Marshall really impressed me in that fight. In her last fight. I thought she was brilliant. She stayed composed. And then she took her out. You know, she took the other fighter out. I think she was brilliant. It was a brilliant performance. So I think Savannah Marshall is a problem for anybody, even Claressa Shields. Someone as skilled as Claressa Shields. I think Savannah Marshall is gonna be a great fight. I do. And the build up to that fight, everything around it, I think it will definitely generate a lot of interest, and I think it will generate them both a lot of money. So I think it just only makes sense for both of them to get it on. You know, and that's what we want to see. That's the fight, you know, that's the biggest fight in women's boxing right now, in my opinion. But that's just my take on it. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.